Okay folks, welcome back to The Long Dark, and you literally join me exactly where we left off. I have literally taken a 10-second break and we're going straight into another video. So we are carrying on exactly where we left off. So we are just hiding behind our fire. I'm going to pass time for... hang on. I can't pass time for less than an hour. And my fire duration is 52 minutes. So let me just chuck an extra stick on that there fire. And then we shall pass time for an hour. I don't want the fire to go out before we finish passing time. Oh, I can cancel passing time though, so that's fine. Okay, cancel it. I don't think I can get a torch from that. Although if I stick a couple of... stick a stick on it, we can get a torch. Awesome. Let's get going then. Let's leave that fire. Follow the gnarly sticks. We'll go in this way. So, in the last video, just before we disappeared off to do our campfire and do our warming ourselves up, I mentioned that in Wintermute you kind of head this way, you go down a path, but then it goes to a cutscene. And at the end of that cutscene is when you meet Jeremiah and the bear, and then you wake up in Jeremiah's hut. So we don't actually see where this this little area, where this pathway actually connects into Mystery Lake. So we're pretty sure that it does, and I'm not entirely sure how. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit careful because I've just realised we've got to climb, haven't we? So I don't want to end up encumbered. I'm picking up as many reishi mushrooms as I can because they're a good calorie source and we're going to need them. So when we get to Mystery Lake, I think that's one of the first things we're going to have to do is do a cook-up. Okay, so this is the climbing area. And we need to go up here, if I remember. Yes, you can, technically. Cinnamon is a tree. Okay, so we're going to head up this way, which means I'm going to lose my torch, which is a bit annoying. So we'll extinguish that so we don't properly lose it. And then we shall climb up here. We shall get to the top. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to climb. We've just about made it to the top. Perfect. Okay, so... Oh, I hate the mournful music. That always scares me. Okay, so... This... We go into a cave, if I remember. And that is where the cutscene cut in Wintermute. It's when we came out of the cave, wasn't it? It's when we came out the far side of the cave. We climb across this tree here, don't we? And then we go into a cave. And then when we came out the other end of the cave is when we went to the cutscene. And I was never quite sure where that cave actually linked to Mystery Lake. So this is going to be very interesting. And of course, because most of our kit, including our rifle and all the good stuff, is all here in Milton, we need to make sure we remember the way back. Oh, we're really tired actually. I think we possibly need to have a sleep. Okay, what we'll do then, we'll get the bedroll out, we'll jump in the bedroll, we'll sleep for just 1 hour. And the reason I'm doing that is because obviously I don't want to freeze to death. I also don't want it to go dark before we've completed our climb. Okay, let's pick the bedroll up. It's quite a nice sheltered little area, that. Well, let's not do sprinting. Because I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if there's another climb or if we're now in the cave. If we're in the cave, we'll be okay. Because the cave is an interior location. It's above freezing. And I think it's pretty safe. I think it's pretty okay to be in there. We can kind of get ourselves sorted in there. we're walking into a headwind, which doesn't make life any easier. Got this waterfall at the bottom. I don't think that affects us. It probably is a bit chillier down here, but I don't think it affects us. I heard some weird sound effects then that made me a bit jumpy. Okay, and I think the cave is just at the end of here. We've got some cattails, so I'll just grab those. Keep ourselves going with the natural resources we find. Now, we've set ourselves the challenge at the beginning of this series that we were going to turn the Grey Mother's house into our big base, so as tempting as it might well be to set ourselves up in Mystery Lake when we get there, I'm not going to do that. I am going to stick with what I said and shuttle everything back to the Grey Mother's house. And I did that on purpose to give us a challenge, something to do in this series, a challenge and something to do, simply because I don't want it to get boring. I want to try and keep things moving. I'm trying to remember from Wintermute now. Where's this cave? There it is. There's the cave. Was that cattail? That's fine. Don't worry about that. We are actually encumbered, but I think that's probably because we're exhausted. Yeah, it's because we're tired. So that's fine. Oops. Had the dang thing in reverse. Okay, so let's head into the cave then. Hopefully there's not going to be a wolf just crouching around the corner anyway. Let's have a quick look over this way. What's down here? Don't fall over. Ah! That looks a bit familiar. That looks a bit familiar. Well, it's a bridge. Well, it looks like a road, but it looks like it's got train cars on it, so I'm really confused there. Okay, so we're going to go into the cave then. This was the link through. So we're leaving the Milton region. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting because they've not been calling it Milton in survival mode. They've been calling it Mountain Town. And all of a sudden they're calling it Milton. Okay, so we're going to make our way through here then. So this, I believe, is going to be above freezing. Yeah, so we're okay temperature-wise in here. I don't think it was a particularly long cave, if I recall. And it's illuminated, so...
Snow.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll be fine. I'm just trying to keep our calories as well as I can. Oh, okay. Well, now I think I did get lost a few times in Wintermute. Yeah, it's not that way. It's this way. So we just need to make our way through the cave. Come out the other side. Oh, we have an abandoned campfire. That's cool. Do we need... Well, we need sleep. But we are above freezing quite comfortably in here. So I think what I'm going to do then... Let's have a whole load of soda. Because that will give us calories and help us with our fluids. And we shall eat several cattail stalks. This gives 150 calories each. It used to be 100, so that's actually been increased. So we'll just eat a load of those. I'm getting about half of them, haven't I? And then we'll just drink our fill of water. And hopefully that will let us sleep for a bit. Now obviously it is going dark anyway. I'm not too bothered about emerging. Yeah, I need a good sleep here, I think. So I'm gonna do an 8-hour sleep. I need a good sleep, and then we'll come out the other side. Okay, so we've had a good sleep. We'll have another soda because that will give us calories as well as hydration, so that's good. And it's now the middle of the night. So we're going to need to... We're not going to be able to... Are we going to be able to sleep? Yeah, we can sleep. Okay, let's find the bedroll. Where is it? There it is. And we'll sleep for a few more hours. As many as it will let us. Okay, so we've woken up fully rested. We are still in the middle of the night. We're going to have to pass time for a bit then. So if we pass time for a couple of hours... Then we'll get ready to hit the cancel button if it looks like we're going to run out of hydration. Okay. You could indeed eat a horse. I think we may have run out of water. We may be pretty close to running out of water. And we're getting quite close to daylight now, so... Oh, no, I've lost the bedroll. I don't want to waste light sources, you see. Okay, let's just sleep for a couple of hours. That should get us through to daybreak, and then we'll be able to come out the other end of the cave. Now, I've worked on the assumption all along... Oh, it's woken up, fully rested again. Okay, but well, if we head now, we should come out pretty much in daylight. So let's just get the storm lantern lit.
I could eat anything right now.
We'll get the storm lantern lit and we'll carry on with the storm lantern. Oh, we've got firewood here. We've got cool stuff. Okay, not sure which way I came in though. It was this way, wasn't it? So it's this way we're going out. Okay, let's carry on through then. So by the time we get to the other end, hopefully it will be daylight or light enough for us to see. I've worked on the assumption the whole way through that this is going to come out in near Trapper's cabin. Simply because that's where we take Jeremiah. So it will be interesting to see how right I am and where this actually comes out, or if there is actually another big transition area on the other end of it, because that is my worry. So obviously it did go to a cutscene as soon as we came out the other side, and that was where we met Jeremiah, but it jumped forward quite a bit obviously from where it was when we stepped out of the cave. So I don't know. I think I've just gone down a dead end. Oh no. Ah, there's the cave exit. So let's extinguish this and we'll holster it, and I'm going to bring out my flare and we're going to head out of the cave. So this is new territory now. We don't know where we're going, and I am actually a little nervous. Oh, it does, it comes up right by Trapper's cabin, look. It's a cave, it's hidden up the hill on the far side of Trapper's cabin from... It's very well hidden. Oh, that's awesome. That's absolutely spot on. So there is the route up where the bear tends to hide out. There's the barn, and there is Trapper's cabin. So that is absolutely brilliant. That is a perfect little spot. Spot on. It's nice and easy to remember where that is as well, because that's what I tend to do with a lot of these caves. I forget where they are. Okay. There. Oops. Oh, that's slightly wrong. Oh, can I not? Oh, yeah, I can. Excellent. Let's get into Trapper's cabin then.
No. Looks like I survived another night.
Yeah, did indeed. And we are here in Mystery Lake, back in Old Faithful. The very familiar territory that we know very well, and we are here in Mystery Lake, and we're here in Trapper's cabin. So yeah, cool. So let's do a bit of, well, first off, let's light a fire. We need to get a fire lit, we need water, and I need to be able to see what I'm doing. It's dark, so if I light a fire, we use cobble matches, we use cattail head, we'll use a stick or a book. Have I got a book? Not that one. We'll use a stick just to get the fire going. We'll use a stick. And...
Come on, little fire. Come on.
yeah, I think this one's not going to light, is it? It's taking quite a while. I don't think this one's going to light. You never can tell. You never can tell. Ah, but it has. There we go. Okay, so let's get some fuel on this fire then. So I'm going to chuck a bit of cedar on there, and I'm going to chuck a few sticks on there, because they're things we can easily get hold of. So that's just going to give us an hour. So that's fine for me. I'm good with that. And we'll just do a litre of water. In fact, let's do 2 litres because I think we've got some purification tablets, so we can just melt the 2 litres of water and then use the purification tablets to purify it, so I can actually come away from the stove and we'll purify the water in a minute. So, what have we got? Another storm lantern, that's cool. We have another hunting knife, so that's also cool. I'm going to leave those there for the moment. That can be my equipment bench. Then I know where things are. We've got a snare. Beef jerky, we'll have that. Chocolate bar. Got some pork and beans. Not bad, not bad. Okay, we'll take that. Again, I'm going to wind up encumbered, but don't worry about that. We'll sort that out in a minute. I'll leave the newsprint. MRE, rifle ammunition, and a cleaning kit. So they're pretty useful. Another copy of Wilderness Kitchen.
So hungry.
Yeah, and a can opener, which is good because we didn't have one. Bit of reclaimed firewood, that's cool. We've got some antibiotics and a bandage. A decent hoodie, that's cool. And I think that's pretty much it. We've got the locker. Let's have a look in the locker. Nothing in there, and we have first aid kit. Another bandage, cool. So this, I think, is going to be the plan then. We have come across the Mystery Lake a little bit earlier than I'd intended to. Oh, we've got a couple of boxes here that we haven't looked in. You know what, I was looking right at them as well, wasn't I? And I didn't actually think to look in them. We came over to Trapper's Cabin, we came over to Mystery Lake a little bit earlier than I'd planned to. I was going to stay in Milton for a little bit longer. What I wanted to try and do was survive in each region for 30 days in-game before moving on. We've only done 6, I think. If we go into our journal, we've done, well, according to this, we've done 8 days, but the game keeps telling me that I've survived for sort of 6 days or something like that. It doesn't seem to marry up with the daily log, which is a bit weird, but we seem to have survived for 6 days. The stats don't marry up either. The current sandbox is telling me I've survived for 6 days, but I've got 8 daily logs. So that doesn't quite work. This seems to be the right one, but we've survived for 6 full days. So we're on day 7. We've discovered 11 different locations. We've explored 6% of the world. We've travelled 13 kilometres. We've spent most of our time, understandably, indoors. We spent most of that time in the mountain town. I think this is telling us what our full days are, so 6 full days, whereas these, it's kind of creating it that log was for day 1, but it was only a few hours. And this log's for day 7 and 8, and 8's only, just started. So I think that's how it's kind of working. This is giving us a daily log for each day we survive in the game, whereas we started that day late in the day. So full in-game days we've survived for 6. So that's, I think, how that's working. But the plan was to spend 30 days in each location. That's kind of gone for a bit of a burden, but I think that was because Milton didn't have as much in it as I was kind of hoping. It's quite small, so I've kind of combined Milton and Mystery Lake to be in one area. So I'm going to try and survive for 30 days in Milton and Mystery Lake, but we are going to do it by taking everything back to the Grey Mother's house. So the plan, we're going to leave a little bit of a cache on Mystery Lake, probably in a relatively central location, so somewhere like... Well, normally, of course, I use Camp Office, but I think I'm going to end up using the dam as a bit of a sort of staging point. The dam and Trapper's Cabin as a bit of a staging point, because they are neatly between the transition areas, so that we can kind of bring things back from Pleasant Valley and from Coastal Highway, and we can then pass through Mystery Lake, and we can then head up towards Milton again. So the plan, I think, is to pretty much loot Mystery Lake, take everything that's useful back to the Grey Mother's house, stockpile everything there, but leave a little bit of a cache in small caches in various places as we pass through, and then we'll... Oh, there's a note there. Can we read the text? You won't remember the world doesn't stop when the lights fade. This is how it begins. Stay calm, observe, survive. Your father saw this day, don't believe what you hear. What he did was far off dawn. Maybe you can recall the fire. Your father understood that we danced for our children's children. My dear, one day you will feel the voices rise in your heart. Enter a cave and stand until stars appear. Climb the highest peak. Sing when brutality hits. I'm here with you. The winter winds can only get so cold. So I believe the notes and things that have been left behind in the game are from Kickstarter backers from way back when the game first started. People obviously had the option to back the game. I just missed out on Kickstarter. I discovered the game just after the Kickstarter phase had closed, so I didn't get the chance to do that. But oh, so kit hiding underneath there. I think that was probably in it and I just didn't see. So I never got the chance to do that, which was a bit of a shame, but it's cool. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I think the notes and the cairns that are dotted around, which we've not found any of yet, are collectible items that have been introduced relatively recently, contributed by Kickstarter backers. So yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to loot everything, we're going to bring it here to Trapper's Cabin initially. So Trapper's Cabin is going to be our base on Mystery Lake. Once we've got everything here, we'll then start taking it across to the Greyman's house. So that's the plan. So we've started off by looting, obviously, the Trapper's Cabin itself. So we need to start getting ourselves a little bit organised in how we're going to store things. I'm not carrying massive amount at the moment, but I am carrying a full backpack. So let's get rid of anything that we don't really need to be carrying. Probably not going to be massively organised. I'm going to dump most things probably in just one place. This container carries quite a lot. So tools and equipment wise, things that we don't need to be carrying right now. Rifle ammunition we obviously don't need to be carrying, or cleaning kit because we haven't got a rifle. Spare sewing kit we don't need to be carrying. Wilderness kitchen is actually fire material now because I don't think we can research it again. We'll try in a minute. Everything else in there I think we can be carrying, so that's fine. Food we'll treat separately. Fire starting materials, actually it is going to wind up being quite well organised. Oh, we've got some materials here. So we've got cloth, we can transfer all of that. Leather, we can transfer all of that. Old man's beard will transfer all of that as well. The other thing, scrap metal, will transfer. So anything tool and material wise I'm putting in this locker. We'll keep these because we can prepare those and we'll make tea out of them. And that one, we'll actually put it down on the ground and get it curing. We might as well drop that on the ground and start curing it because I'd forgotten I was carrying it, to be honest. And it'll be pretty cool if we can start to get these things cured, because then we can start thinking about crafting. Of course, we've got a workbench in here, so we can think about doing some crafting before we even get back to the grandmother's house. So that'd be pretty cool. Weather outside isn't sounding particularly nice, I have to say. Tools and tool-wise, I'm going to pot some of the tools down here, things I find that are pretty interesting. So maybe I should put sewing kit there, but never mind. Fire starting materials, fire starting materials will drop down here, I think. So let's just see if there's any we can get rid of. Reclaimed wood I'll drop here, and we can use that here. Other fire starting materials, what do we have? Oh, we are actually carrying quite a lot, aren't we? Can I research this? Can I research it again? Oh, apparently I can. Oh, that's cool. So you can research each one of these each time you find it. So that's actually quite cool. I'm actually carrying a massive amount of tinder. I didn't realise. Okay, let's drop all of the tinder plugs and we'll just keep the cattail stalks. I'm also carrying a lot of matches, so we can drop some of the matches. I'm going to drop the matches over here, I think, with the rest of the tools and equipment. So we'll drop that just there. So we've got bits of fire starting material that we can leave behind. Basically, what I want to do is just travel from here out to the outlying sections of Mystery Lake with a kind of minimal kit. I don't be carrying too much rubbish with me. I've got some clothing to get rid of as well, haven't we? Let's put it in one of these boxes. So clothing wise, that I don't think it's going to be any good. That we'll get rid of. I might just hang on to that hoodie for a second and just see if that is any better than what I am already wearing. So let's just try. Okay, well, it's no better than that. And it's not really any better than that, is it? Okay, that's fine then. We'll ditch the hoodie in here. We won't worry about that. Let's get rid of the hoodie. There we go. Okay, so we've managed to reduce our load a little bit. We're still carrying quite a lot of weight. I think it's mostly firewood. I think I might need to ditch some of the firewood I'm carrying and pick some more up as we go along. So if we just drop some of this firewood that I'm carrying around, if I drop, let's drop all of the cedar. So that gets 2.5 kilos out. I am carrying quite a lot of water as well, aren't I, and things. So and food. But I do probably need to carry most of my food around with me. So I don't know what I'm going to find when I go around. Spare food I'll probably pop in this other container. Let's pop the food in here. So let's just sort that by condition. And the stuff that's in really decent condition we'll leave behind. Okay, so we'll leave all of that behind. We'll take that with us and we'll sort this. Let's sort this water out. We need to purify that water. So let's go into here, into the medicine one, and we'll use purification tablets. And we'll use another one, and that will purify all of the non-purified water that we're carrying with us, so that's good. And we've got a few bits of first aid that we can get rid of, so let's get rid of those in here. So you can see how I do things. If you've not seen any of these videos before, I like to keep myself organised, mainly because I'm very forgetful, and I will forget where I've put things if I'm not organised. So I tend to put medicines, I always put in a first aid box if there is one. I'll always dedicate a container for tools and materials, and then I'll always dedicate a container for clothing and one for food. Equipment and sort of bits and pieces like this I'll always lay out in the open so I can see them, and fire materials, firewood and things I tend to lay out in the open, or I'll dedicate a container for them. We're a bit short of containers in here, so we'll lay them out in the open. Now we haven't got in the safe yet, but we won't worry about that, we'll do that later. So we're looking okay. The wind outside is not sounding very favourable, so I'm not going to risk going out there just yet. But we are here, we're on Mystery Lake, we've made it across, and the transition actually between Milton and Mystery Lake is actually pretty straightforward. It's a bit of a trek, it's a little bit long, but it's pretty safe. Doesn't look like there's any wolves or anything lurking around on it. It looks fairly safe. There's plenty of little shelters and hidey holes that we can use to protect ourselves during that transit. So and it's more than doable in a in-game day, so in daylight. So it actually looks like a pretty okay transition area. The only thing, of course, is when you do get to Milton, you've got to climb up the rope. So we cannot be encumbered. So we can't even be slightly encumbered as we travel. So my normal tactic when I'm shuttling stuff is I will just overload myself a little bit, and you can get away with it, but here we're not going to be able to, because we're going to have to use ropes. So we're going to have to travel completely unencumbered to be able to climb up the ropes. And when we get to the top of the rope back in Milton, we've got to remember that we're a fair distance from the Grey Mother's house. We've got to cross Milton, and the nearest proper indoor location where we can properly shelter from wolves and things is the gas station. So we've got a fair old trek to get to a safe area, but we can drop into that little hut that's up in the park area and sort of light a fire in the doorway and keep the wolves out that way. So we'll go with that. I think it's pretty cool. I think we're going to do all right with this little plan that we have. Right now, though, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching as always. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We will be back for some more Long Dark, and I shall see you again, as always, very, very soon.